Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Reading. Today I will be reading SCP-1534, One Best Way. Object Class, Keter. Assigned Site, Site-23. Site Director, Dr. Hideo Sommers. Research Head, Dr. John Billings. Assigned MTF, Mu-5, Secret Shoppers. SCP-1534 refers to an organization that operated primarily out of local supercenter number 2351, a branch store belonging to Walmart Incorporated in Catskill, New York. This cult, dubbed SF-CISM by its practitioners, was disguised as a department within this store and reported directly to store manager Jeremy Wilcox, now designated Person of Interest 1534-1. The initial aim of the SF-CISTs was to utilize thaumaturgic practices in order to boost economic growth in the region, but this goal was eventually co-opted by Person of Interest -1 in order to ensure his sole economic benefit. Membership was limited to select current and former employees of Supercenter number 2351 and its sister store, Supercenter number 2402 in Hudson, New York. At the time of incident 1534.Incorporated.01, there were rumors that Person of Interest -1 planned to extend this influence to Supercenter number 1840 in Lake Catherine, New York. But these rumors remain unsubstantiated. The cult itself was disguised as an independent department within both stores, both of which engaged in various thaumaturgic rituals designed to increase sales and profitability within stores 2351 and 2402. The extent to which these rituals influenced the market increase in sales within these two stores is unclear, but it is obvious that the effect was tremendous. Attached addenda. Discovery. SCP-1534 was discovered on October 8, 2017, after the reopening of the e-commerce departments in Supercenter 2351 and Supercenter 2402. Within the week, profits at both locations increased by over 200%, while the combined total shrink decreased to $15. Normally, the uptick of financial affairs in Supercenter 2351 and 2402 would not warrant Foundation investigation. However, the sudden and drastic increase in profit coincided with a spike in missing persons within the local region. Jerbic.aic deemed this sufficient cause to assign a field agent to investigate, and Agent Steve Murphy was dispatched to Supercenter 2351 under the guise of a new employee transfer. Per Undercover Protocol Alpha 6, Agent Murphy remained in contact with the Foundation through coded messages posted through his social media accounts. On the 23rd of December 2017, Jerbic.aic notified Field Agent Command that Agent Murphy had failed to meet the designated check-in, and additional assets were deployed to his residence. Additional research. Social media posts. The following are a record of the messages posted to various social media sites by Agent Murphy during his investigation into Supercenter 2351. Each post was accompanied by an image which contained a message encrypted in the image, EXIF data, which has been deciphered and reproduced here by Jerbic.aic. Post from October 17th, 2017. This is Agent Steve Murphy, F-Aid number 225519. My wife shops here. It's been weird. I've successfully managed to integrate myself into SF-CISM by agreeing to begin following the tenets and teachings of their deity, Charles. Even signed a fancy contract and put my name in a place they call the graveyard, alongside everyone else who works or has worked there. They appear to hold a great deal of reverence for Charles and pray to him pretty consistently throughout the day. There are photos of him everywhere. The cleaner and the packer aren't particularly fond of Wilcox, but as the packer explains it, there isn't much they can do. He says jump and they jump. He says land, they land. It's almost normal, honestly. The packer showed me one of the rituals the other day. While packing the device called a scanner, he was using froze up and stopped working. He put the scanner on his packing station and started peeling the skin off his finger like a goddamn banana. I almost threw up then and there, but I managed to keep it down. The man drew some sigils on the scanner and said something. Couldn't hear what. I asked him about it, but all he said was, "Charles provides." Then all the blood spatter crawled across the packing station, across the floor, up his leg, and back into his hand. The guy just went back to work like nothing happened. It was like that for the rest of the day. Scanners freezing, fingers peeling, then just unpeeling, prayers to Charles. No one outside the department thought anything of it, even the civilians that were newer to the job than I was. I guess they're all just accustomed to the circumstances. After all the pallets were on the truck, the FSists hadn't gone home early, gathered around the middle of the 3 packing stations and dropped to their knees. The cleaner showed me how to hold my hands together. I'll have to send you a photograph. Maybe there's some other meaning you can decipher from it. Their prayer went something like this. Praise the corporation. Blessed be the one true packer, the firstborn picker, the starfish, and the lords that watch over us from the assistant manager's office. May Charles keep our pickers fast, our packers stalwart, and the heretics out of our department. Charles provides. We said that prayer a few times over before clocking out. Haven't seen much of Wilcox today, apart from the morning. I'll keep investigating. Tell Gail hi for me. You know how she gets. And I'd appreciate not coming home to an angry wife. Wouldn't you? There were no additional reports posted for several days while Agent Murphy continued to post innocuous and unrelated messages as part of his cover. According to these innocuous and unofficial reports, Murphy was acclimating well to his new job and had made several friends. The following was posted on the 24th of October and was captioned with "Gil putting on a show." Post from October 24th, 2017. Wilcox came to the SF-SIST area in the back room today, along with some other members of upper management. Apparently he was giving a tour and said our department was the crowning jewel of the store. The cleaner and the packer talked to him for a while after the other managers left, but I couldn't hear what they said. All I know is that our orders damn near tripled for today, and I had to haul ass to keep up. We prayed to Charles on our lunch break today. The packer told me that he was going to show me the flawless technique, said it relied purely on faith, being one with Charles. He put on this lampshade and just told me to watch. It was like watching 100 people move together in almost perfect sync. The speed, the precision. I've seen temporal anomalies before, but this was strange even by those standards. His arms were blurs. He could have packed a couple of 100 boxes in a few seconds by my estimate. Guess that explains how they're able to finish the job by 3 p.m. every day. The packer told me that every SF-SIST knows the flawless technique because he taught it to them. Guess now I know it too. I'll have to try it for myself tomorrow. I'll find out more if I act the part. Charles's blessing. The following messages were posted and captioned with seeing the sights in the unofficial report. Agent Murphy had been exceeding job performance expectations and had earned the trust of his superiors. Post from October 31st, 2017. Peak is coming. We have 8 weeks to prepare. Wilcox has demanded that we assist with store preparations, and he has closed the department temporarily. The SF-SISTs have taken to praying in the freezer during their breaks. Another new person got hired today, and the packer asked me to show her the ropes. I don't know the way well enough to be of any assistance. I worry about what's coming next. I'm told to keep Charles in my heart, but my head, I grow weary with worry. Several days later, another post was made captioned with flawless. In the post's unrelated text, Murphy claimed that he was beginning to enjoy his time working undercover. When reminded of his mission, Agent Murphy was dismissive and avoided answering questions directly pertaining to the nature of the e-commerce department cult. Post from November 7th, 2017. The flawless technique has multiple applications. Charles will be proud of my ingenuity, as would the packer wherever he is. The cleaner is preoccupied with peak preparations. She's spending a lot of time in the e-commerce department alone. I catch her praying to Charles sometimes. I swear I've seen someone or something with her, but she assures me it's nothing. That thing, it was like a breathing info hazard. Hurt just to glance at. Hurts more to think about. It must have had 100 tentacles that ended in spikes and wet, sucking suction cups that clung to the floors and walls around the cleaner. Wilcox is pleased. Charles provides. The following post was received and captioned, "Exploring the sites." Agent Murphy could not be reached for further comments at the time the post was deciphered. Post from November 13th, 2017. Peak came upon us. Peak has crested like a wave. None of us are now as we were. Wilcox is pleased. Charles provides. 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 None of us are now as we were. Investigative findings. Several anomalous items as well as an overwhelming amount of Supercenter-related paraphernalia were discovered in Agent Murphy's residence on December 23rd. Some of the items have included a Supercenter brand vest. The vest was strung up on a wall above several still-lit candles and a photograph of an identified individual. The vest exhibits a mild cognitohazardous effect which prevents the observer from creating negative thoughts about Supercenter 2351, 2402, or any other respective employees. This effect expires after 9 hours. A check made out of Agent Murphy for $1,024.52. When held, the subject experiences extreme fatigue, lethargy, and malaise. All subjects have expressed a disdain to return to Supercenter 2351, regardless of prior experiences or lack thereof in that location. 2 severed heads, both capable of limited speech. One head repeats the phrase, "It had to be done," while the other says, "Clean, pack," at regular intervals. A writhing mass of fleshy tentacles that scuttle without any apparent pattern. These tentacles become hostile to anyone who attempts to disturb the previously mentioned vest. Incident 1534.Inc.01. The following recorded was pieced together from various surviving surveillance cameras in Supercenter 2351. 10 o'clock. All East Commerce employees exit the back room and move towards the center of Supercenter 2351. They are holding box cutters, scanners, and handheld printers. While they march, they appear to be chanting. 10:03. Agent Murphy is approached by Wilcox, and the two retreat to the back room. The other e-commerce employees don lampshades and clasp their hands together. Several customers gather around the e-commerce employees and take photographs of them. 10:07. An organism resembling an arachnid with tentacle-like appendages emerges from the back room. The entity exudes a mild cognitohazardous effect that prevents surveillance cameras from depicting it in full. The entity undulates towards the closest customer and consumes them. 10:08. The entity expels the customer. It begins behaving erratically and showcasing hitherto unexpressed anomalous properties. The customer resumes shopping, but at a drastically increased pace, displaying the capability to process through an entire aisle within seconds. Once they have filled their cart, they proceed to the self-checkout registers. After finalizing their sale, the customer falls limp to the floor and is dragged off by a sales associate. 10:15. The entity continues to rampage through Supercenter 2351, consuming individuals that are unable to avoid its path. 10:16. The e-commerce employee has herd other customers toward the entity. 10:20. Several customers attempt to flee Supercenter 2351 through alternative exits. All doors, save for the main entrance, fail to function as intended. 10:30. Wilcox, Agent Murphy, and 2 other unknown individuals emerge from the back room and proceed to the front end registers. 10:31. The 2 unknown individuals kneel in a manner that would suggest prayer. Wilcox speaks to the individuals, then nods at Agent Murphy. 10:33. Agent Murphy exsanguinates the 2 individuals via a cut to the throat. The two individuals then orally produce several tentacle-like appendages that hang from their mouths. Using the appendages, they're able to attack nearby customers in a manner similar to the arachnid-like entity. 1048. The tentacles detach from the two unknown individuals and scuttle along the floor before disappearing beneath the cash registers. 1049. Wilcox returns with a box cutter and furiously cuts into the throats of the two individuals. After several seconds, he is able to tear off both heads with the assistance of Agent Murphy. Murphy carries both heads in his hands as he follows Wilcox to the exit. Foundation agents equipped with incendiary weaponry were dispatched to Supercenter 2351. The three tentacled entities and several anomalous customers engaged in hostility with Foundation operatives. Surveillance cameras began shaking at this time. A large entity emerged from the floor beneath the e-commerce employees, but the camera footage becomes distorted, preventing observation of the entity. Several high-pitched screeches become audible before the surveillance cameras cut out. Footnotes. 1. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police. 2. The United States Marshal Service. 3. Shrink, in this case, is defined as the amount of profit or profit lost to theft, damage, and miscounting. 4. Shorthand for ship from Storism, the official name for the cultists' religion. 5. Potentially Charles Lohr, President and CEO. U.S. e-commerce. He was promoted to the position in 2016 and is credited with expanding and building the e-commerce department into what it is today. However, it is unclear whether or not he is in any way involved in creation of the cults in Supercenters 2351 and 2402. 6. The SF-CIS refer to their department heads by function rather than name. Their employee records have been edited to reflect this, and their true names cannot be ascertained. 7. Packing refers to the process of scanning items in an order, placing them in a Supercenter branded box, sealing it, and then placing it on a pallet. The pallet, once full, is then placed on the truck. 8. The Way is what the SF-CISs call their religion when talking amongst themselves. 9. These are presumed to be the cleaner and the packer mentioned in Murphy's social media posts. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1534 is currently only partially contained. Drubic.aic has been tasked with expunging all references to Incident 1534.inc.01 that have or may appear on social media. All extant media reports have been discredited as a fringe conspiracy theory where they have not been debunked as outright falsehoods. Additionally, warrant arrests for Person of Interest 1534-1 Jeremy Wilcox have been filed with Interpol, the RCMP, the USMS, and the International Criminal Court. Any information on his current whereabouts is to be reported to MTF Move 5, Secret Shoppers. All survivors and known witnesses of Incident 1534.inc.01 have been amnesticized and released under cover story Omicron 23 Delta, active shooter event.